Hi, I'm Erin Perkins. I'm going to be presenting today on continuous improvement for my school, Tallgrass Student Learning Center, which is in conjunction with the General Education High School of Washburn Rural. Um, Anyone ever have one of those moments? You're teaching, you've got a whole bunch of balls up in the air, trying to keep them all up and juggled, and someone just says, catch, here comes another one. Figure it out. Continuous learning, continuous improvement, I feel, is like one of those things. We have to keep everything going better and better, and you just get more and more added to your plate, it seems like sometimes. And if we're trying to get our students to constantly learn and constantly improve, that's kind of the name of the game. What I wanted to focus on is post-secondary success. And that's one of the measurements that they look at after students have graduated. And we look at graduation rate and we look at success beyond school. And first, before we look at that data, I just want to take a brief moment to see this is how Kansas defines post-secondary success. Students either earning a certificate while they're in high school in some sort of industry, getting a post-secondary certificate or a degree, or their enrollment first and second year after they follow high school graduation. So if we look at this data, which comes from the Kansas report card, you can see over the past 5 years, the data they've given us, our graduation rate is wonderful. Those are all, in the 90%, right exactly where we want them to be. Our success rate, however, as defined by those things, is quite significantly lower, it feels like anyway, for the ways that they're measuring post-secondary success as it goes right now. And that's something I want to talk about too, is are those really the only measures that we can define our students as successful? As we know, many of our students at Tallgrass don't necessarily go on to post-secondary education, but are still able to be successful. But where we want to be ultimately is to close that gap between the graduation rates and the success rates. So how did we kind of get there? Well, we're doing a great job with getting kids to graduation and getting them through all the points that the state determines that they need to be getting through, but we're apparently missing some skills for those post-secondary successes. We can probably pull from the community survey data that our superintendent has had done from members of the community as to what they deem as someone being successful when they graduate from high school. So those are some skills that we probably need to look at from that data and then find ways that we can measure those things. So once we target those skills from the survey, we can start infusing them into classes through specific interventions. Here at Tallgrass, we can really track those skills through use of a program potentially like Live School, where we can align their paychecks that they get through earning behavior points and exhibiting positive behaviors with job readiness skills, um, and be able to track those target skills, align those on our data tracking sheets, and reward them as we see them. And then we will be able to see those ways that our students are being successful. We also probably need to look at ways that we are deeming students being successful after high school that isn't necessarily just a state definition, and then take some separate data collection for our own definition so that we are able to prove, at least for ourselves, if not necessarily according to state data, that our students are having some sort of success after graduation. Is that holding a consistent job, that they haven't bounced around from place to place while they're there? Have they gotten on the job training, technical, being able to advance up, hold down a steady job? What sorts of independent living skills are they exhibiting? Those are the things specific for our school that we probably need to look at. But that would be data that, again, we would have to collect on our own. We could do that through different surveys at the end of different semesters. So, hey, it's December and you've been out of high school for 6 months. Where are you at? How's it going? Just kind of doing some check-in and seeing how they've made progress or improvement. Also, for the kids who have been enrolled in some sort of technical training school or potentially college, what does their enrollment in classes look like? What are their course loads? What are their grades? And those sorts of things will be able to determine that if teaching more specific skills for those future successes will have made a difference. So our end goal ultimately is to be able to prepare and produce individuals who are ready to learn and enter all these other professions that we are needing. Teaching is the profession that teaches all the other professions.